It happened again. For the second time in less than a week, the skies over the United Arab Emirates filled with the sound of air defense systems firing at incoming missiles and drones the UAE says came from Iran. Friday night brought a fresh barrage, and this time there were casualties on the ground. The UAE Ministry of Defense said its systems intercepted 2 ballistic missiles and 3 drones launched from Iranian territory. At least 3 people were injured during the engagement. Authorities have not clarified whether the injuries were caused by missile debris, interceptor fragments, or blast effects. But the result is the same. People were hurt on the ground in a country that 48 hours earlier had already been shaken by the drone attack on the Fujairah oil industry zone. The earlier barrage injured people and triggered a fire at Fujairah's oil industry zone, according to Reuters and UAE officials. The second put 3 more people in harm's way. The intervals are shrinking, and the question that was still theoretical last week, whether the UAE is now inside this war, stopped being theoretical on Friday. The emergency response went far beyond the interceptions. Flights to Dubai and Abu Dhabi were disrupted as alerts spread across the country, with flight tracking data showing diversions and delays on inbound routes. UAE authorities urged residents to follow official guidance as air defense alerts spread, though the full scope of emergency measures was not detailed in the reporting I could verify. Dubai does not ground international flights lightly. When it does, every airline, insurer, and logistics company tracking the Gulf recalculates its risk exposure in real time. The suspension was brief. The signal it sent was not. Iranian military-linked reports went further than what the UAE confirmed. Tehran's outlets claimed that missiles had struck what they described as enemy-linked targets inside Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Additional reports alleged damage to the ports of Jebel Ali and Fujairah, the Habshan energy fields, and several aluminum plants. None of those claims have been independently verified. The UAE has not officially confirmed any damage beyond the interceptions and the 3 injuries. But the gap between what Iran claims and what the UAE confirms is itself part of the pressure. If even a fraction of the Iranian claims were accurate, the implications for Gulf shipping, energy exports, and the broader regional economy would be severe. Abu Dhabi's response to the escalation has been institutional, not just military. UAE officials say they are moving to document the attacks and assess damage for possible legal and diplomatic action, though the exact mechanism has not been fully detailed in the reporting I could verify. That is the language of a government preparing for this crisis to outlast a single exchange. It is the language of a country preparing a formal record for the international stage while the strikes are still landing. The committee tells the world that the UAE sees this as a sustained campaign, not a one-off incident that will resolve itself with the next ceasefire extension. The barrage over the UAE landed on the same night a major confrontation erupted between US and Iranian forces at the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM confirmed that Iranian forces attacked 3 named American destroyers with missiles, drones, and small boats. CENTCOM said every incoming threat was intercepted, and Trump echoed that line publicly. CENTCOM struck back inside Iran, hitting launch sites and command nodes. Iran said the US had broken the ceasefire first, accusing Washington of attacking an Iranian tanker near Jask and striking Keshem Island, 2 versions of who started it. And in between the 2 accounts, the UAE was intercepting ballistic missiles over its own cities. The Gulf state that tried hardest to balance between the competing pressures of this war is now absorbing its physical consequences. So this is what Friday produced. The UAE says 2 ballistic missiles and 3 drones were intercepted over its territory. 3 people injured. Flights to Dubai and Abu Dhabi suspended. Iran claiming strikes on ports and energy infrastructure that have not been confirmed. A formal committee launched to document the damage, and a naval battle at Hormuz running in parallel, with named American warships under fire and US strikes hitting targets inside Iran. The ceasefire that was supposed to hold now looks increasingly like a ceasefire in name more than in effect. And the country that spent decades building itself as the safest commercial hub in the Middle East is now intercepting missiles over its skyline. The war is no longer somewhere else. It is here. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis. For weeks, the pattern at Hormuz has been the same. Iran claims a confrontation. The United States denies it. 2 narratives, no resolution. But what happened on Tuesday broke that pattern. This time, both sides say it happened. Iran says it fired missiles, cruise missiles, and suicide drones at 3 American destroyers transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And for the first time, CENTCOM did not deny that an attack took place. It confirmed it. What the two sides disagree on is not whether the exchange happened. It is who started it, how much damage was done, and what it means for a ceasefire that now looks like it exists in name only. But the sequence of events that led to the firing tells a story neither side can fully control. Before the naval confrontation, something else happened. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters accused the United States of striking civilian areas, including Qeshm and coastal zones near the strait, while Reuters reported those allegations but did not independently verify the full Iranian account. A U.S. official, cited by Fox News, said the action did not amount to a return to full-scale war. Iranian media also reported blasts in areas tied to the strait, though the full scope and locations were not independently confirmed. Tehran framed what came next as retaliation. According to Iranian state-linked media, Tehran framed its response as retaliation after what it said was a U.S. attack on an Iranian oil tanker near Jask. From Iran's perspective, the sequence is clear. Tehran says the U.S. struck first, and Iran answered. According to CENTCOM, the confrontation involved USS Truxtun, USS Rafael Peralta, and USS Mason, the same 3 destroyers later named in Iranian reporting. Fars News reported that Iranian forces used a combination of anti-ship ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and suicide drones carrying heavy explosive warheads against the vessels as they approached the strait. Iran claimed the destroyers suffered significant damage and withdrew rapidly from the area, a version CENTCOM rejects. A military source quoted by Iranian media said the enemy's units came under missile fire in the Strait of Hormuz and were forced to flee after sustaining damages. CENTCOM's statement confirmed the core of the incident, but rejected Iran's version of the outcome. It said Iranian forces launched multiple missiles, drones, and small boats at the 3 destroyers as they transited what it called the International Sea Passage. CENTCOM said it intercepted all inbound threats and that no U.S. assets were struck. It then confirmed that the United States responded with strikes targeting Iranian military facilities responsible for the attacks, including missile and drone launch sites, command and control locations, and intelligence and surveillance nodes. CENTCOM said it does not seek escalation, but remains positioned and ready to protect American forces. The statement described the Iranian attacks as unprovoked. Iran says they were retaliation. What is clear is that Iran launched missiles and drones at the destroyers, and the United States says it responded with strikes on Iranian military targets. The Hormuz confrontation did not happen in isolation. The UAE said it came under missile and drone attacks for a second consecutive day, including near Fujairah, home to a key oil export terminal. The IRGC issued a formal denial, saying Iran had not conducted any missile or drone operations against the UAE in recent days, and that any real military action would be openly acknowledged. The IRGC added a warning. Should any hostile action be initiated from within UAE territory against Iranian islands or coastal regions, Iran would deliver what it called a crushing and deeply regrettable response. The UAE has announced it is forming a national committee to document damage from what it describes as Iranian attacks and to pursue legal action. The Gulf is no longer a backdrop to this conflict, it is becoming a participant. So this is where it stands. Iran says the United States struck areas including Qeshm and coastal zones near the strait, an account Reuters reported but did not fully verify independently. Tehran says the ceasefire was violated. Iranian forces fired missiles, cruise missiles, and drones at 3 named American destroyers. CENTCOM confirmed the attack happened, but says it intercepted everything and struck back. Iran says the American ships were damaged and fled. The UAE was hit for a second day. The IRGC denied responsibility, but warned of crushing retaliation if attacked from UAE territory. Both sides are now describing military action across the strait as defensive, even as the exchange itself has become openly acknowledged. Whatever the ceasefire was, it is no longer functioning as a restraint on military action. The question is no longer whether it will hold. The question is whether anyone is still pretending it does.